second one of the morning.
I've gone with a cappuccino, the little muffin that's got like a caramel filling, and then a cinnamon roll. And I'm sitting right on the main pedestrian path. So here we are on the boulevard. This is all your main shopping and dining experiences. Also the little cafe that I had the coffee and 2 breakfast treats is just up a few meters around to the left. All told, that was about €3.50, about $4 for a little breakfast cappuccino, and would have the muffin and the cinnamon roll. So we'll come back to the main boulevard later on this afternoon. I'm going to walk us down to the park and then to the water and go explore a little bit along that direction. Amazing how just with the sun out today for the first time in over a week, this has gone from being rather empty at all times of the day to being rather hustle and bustle at this stage. More to come. Chile. The sweet smells and sounds of springtime. Even though on the calendar it's been springtime for 2 months. Northern Europe is just now getting the early taste of it. See, even these trees right here are still very early in their bloom stage. A lot of the other ones are filled in rather nicely. But with the weather staying as cool as it has, late May is about the start of spring here. This good weather is going to be a short period though. I think the rain returns tomorrow. And then the cooler temperatures return, although not quite as cold as it was last week on this, I don't know, 9 or 10 days I've been here. It's pretty much been inundated with the rain, as I said before. This little park area is really nice though. As I've mentioned before in European videos, that always amazed at how close to the city you can find some nature. And no exception here. We're less than a half a kilometer from the main area of the city here. And this park has paths that kind of roll in and around several miles, several kilometers. There's actually an amphitheater where you have like a little concert set up right up ahead. We'll go show that. A few sport courts, then we'll go find the big church. About a 15 or 20 minute walk from the park, with a quick stop at a grocery store for a 1.5 liter bottle of water, about 70 euro cents. Not too bad. We are down at Toksha Lake Toksha, which sits right above those weeds right there. A nice little hiking path that'll wander us a little bit closer. There's a cafe and things such as that down that direction. Also a restaurant, I believe. See a little bit of construction ongoing down here. Looks like we're going to continue the walkway and the road that direction. Some lovely homes here on the lake shore of Old Talksha. These look like they're rather high-end, exclusive lakefront homes, although even not right on the water, but close enough. So I think there's a cafe and well, I know there's a cafe because I had a beer in the cafe a couple nights ago when the rains returned. I got out for a little while in the afternoon, got a little bit of sightseeing in, but once the rains chased me inside the cafe, I hung out there and talked with the owner for a little while. So let's head down to the lake and check out that area. Cool backyard, man. Cool backyard. One of the highlights down here by Talksha Lake is the Iron Fox. It weighs over 7 tons and is the largest metal sculpture in all of Lithuania. Here's my little cafe that I visited a few nights ago. Talked to, well, I guess was the owner, and he also runs this little water sports business down here. And we got talking about wakeboarding. Told him, I said, I tried it one time and did not have much success with it. He's like, hey, I can have you up in 10 minutes on the wakeboard. And I said, I doubt that. And he's like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, not wakeboarding, I promise you that. But maybe stop in there and have a beer after we hike around the water here a little bit. A lot bigger crowd out there than when it was just me 3 or 4 days ago dodging raindrops. A lot of folks out enjoying this weather. Their first real taste of spring, at least since I've been here. Continuing on around Lake Talksha. Just on the path outside the forest here, find some horses out here grazing in this little neighborhood adjacent to the forested park. Check out these homes. Beautifully styled, well manicured yards. That must be the ambassador's home. I think it's huge. All right, we were out of the park and we're gonna head back up into the city. We've got to check out the church. A lovely day here in Lithuania. Sunshine abounds. Finally sunshine. Coming back. Siauliai. As we leave the lake in the distance, we come up this little footpath. This is going to be Sundial Square, or the Golden Boy. And the story I read is actually his crossbow acts as a sundial and then casts the time down onto the square, which is pretty interesting. I'm not very good at reading sundials, so I don't know how that exactly works, if it looks like a normal clock would. Or I say for the last week though, old Golden Boy has probably been inoperable because there's not been much sunshine here in Siauliai, even though it's nicknamed City of the Sun. But I think that's something entirely different. See the church right up behind it? That's going to be our destination after this. Remarkably, it still stands pretty much as an original. Most of the city, about 85%, was wiped out during World War I and then rebuilt after World War II, mostly in a Soviet type style. But the church itself, dating back several centuries, was thankfully spared. Let's head up that direction. Just underneath Golden Boy and his crossbow, the sundial actually does work, although it's not quite accurate. You see the 12 around the corner there. There's the 12, There's the 3. So you would think it'd be about, oh, maybe 1:30, 2 o'clock. It's actually about 2:50 p.m. Maybe it's not set up to work on daylight savings time. See this little stairway that runs up to the street and then down to the sundial square here. 1236, that is the first mention in the annals of history of the city here in northern Lithuania, Siauliai. Been here for a little bit over a week. First day I filmed. I have been out and about several times, but it's always been rainy and overcast, so not really good GoPro camera days. But today has been remarkable. I had an Airbnb rented for several weeks here, and that had some issues. So I actually left that a few days ago, and I rented a another place on booking.com, but I'm out of there tomorrow. So I have to make a decision to either stay here, really some other areas of Lithuania I wanted to explore, but I've never been to Riga in Latvia, and I've never been to Tallinn, Estonia, and they're just a short train ride to the north. Although the weather, which will also play in the decision a little bit, is going to cool off again, and the rain is going to return again. So I'm going to have to decide if I want to go north, stay around here, or go south. But right now we're going to head up and check out the church. Cross the street, climb the stairs, and then we're done. Well, up the hill, and there is the cathedral, Saint Cathedral of Apostles Peter and Paul. Oh, look at that. We get a little chime. Dates back to the early 1600s, 1625, I believe. And I guess I'm corrected when I said it was spared during the wars. It was damaged, but not beyond repair, which is kind of nice. I think every school group must be on a trip today, enjoying the weather out. I've seen about 10 groups through the parks and now up here in the city. Can't blame them. Probably a little cabin fever at this point. Get out, enjoy this beautiful weather. See the flag of Lithuania next to the European Union flag, and I'm not sure about the one on the left. But another little shot of the cathedral here in Siauliai. And just across the street from the cathedral, actually looking back towards the cathedral there through that tree that's just in bloom here in springtime. Lovely, lovely Siauliai. So I think we're going to head back towards the shopping, pedestrian, dining zone. It is about 3:30 in the afternoon, and maybe look for a little bit of lunch along the way. Plenty of things to see and do around Siauliai. Fortunately, we just did not have the weather to cooperate and get out and see a lot of things. The biggest draw for a tourist is the famed Hill of Crosses, which is about 6 miles outside of town. Your best way to get out there is by taxi or rental car. You can take a bus, I think, get you close, but leaves you about a 30-minute walk to and from. So I don't think that's going to happen today, but we'll go back and explore the pedestrian zone and a few tips for visiting Siauliai and Lithuania coming up. So back on the boulevard, pedestrian only zone that runs for quite some ways. I'm fortunate enough to have a apartment rented here on the boulevard, so everything's pretty close for me, which is kind of nice. But Siauliai is a very walkable town, so you can get from one side to the other with relative ease. Some pretty interesting little sculptures here. A couple of tips: take advantage of the public transportation. To do that, you want to download the City Bus app, because if you buy a ticket from the bus driver, it's €1.50 for a one-way ticket. If you have the app on your phone and say you deposit €5, which is what I did, and then you just validate a ticket every time you jump on the bus, it is down to 60, I think it's 67 or 68 cents, so about 1/3 of the price. So do take advantage of that. Don't think that you can buy beer anytime you want, and this goes for all of Lithuania. There are no beer sales in the stores after 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and no beer sales after 3 p.m. on Sunday. So don't think you've had dinner, you want to grab a couple of cold ones for the hotel. If it's after 8 p.m., you cannot do that. I guess my next tip is, do not think that Lithuania is a cheap destination for tourists. Maybe at one time, but inflation here ran over 20% several years ago, and you really see the price difference from when I first visited 3 years ago to today. Grocery prices are quite expensive. Prices in the restaurants are lower than some places, of course, but not as affordable as I experienced on the very first trip. You can still have a main deal for 15 to 20 euros. And maybe the further you get away from the actual city center, it might be a little less expensive, but plan to pay more. And for me right now, using the American dollar as my home currency, that has dropped about 10% within the last couple of months. So everything now is 10% more expensive, but that's just part of it. Sometimes it works great when it's strong, and when the dollar is a little bit weaker, you have to pay a little bit more. And I guess my last tip for Lithuania and Siauliai is, do get beyond Vilnius and Kaunas and come out and visit the secondary cities. Siauliai, no small city by no means. It's the 4th largest in the country. Klaipėda, I think is how you say it, is out on the sea. I think that's the 3rd largest. But Siauliai is actually the 6th largest city in the Baltic region. So get away from Vilnius and Kaunas, and like I said, visit the other cities that countries have to offer, and enjoy the nature when you're here. Just pray for better weather than I had. All right, good afternoon from Siauliai.